In this video, we will look into sampling and non-sampling errors. Errors always occur in life, and it can also occur when you're doing sampling, or it can also occur when the procedure is taking place. And why do we look into errors? Because when we know where the errors can take place, then it's easy to foresee the problems and rectify them from the beginning. So it's important to learn these error terms. Okay, the two types of errors that can take place. One is sampling errors, and the second is non-sampling errors. We'll see what are these two. First, the sampling errors. As the name states, these are errors that take place while the sample is being selected. You choose the samples, right? So when you choose a sample, there is an error that has taken place. So faulty selection of the sample instead of correct sample by defective sampling technique. We have seen there are many types of sampling techniques. There's simple random sampling using the Fisher's table, or you also have stratified random sampling. You have also have systematic sampling. So any of these samplings, methods that we use, if it was used in an inappropriate place, then that can be a sampling error that can take place. Like, for example, the population is heterogeneous. So then there is so many stratas within the population, but you ignore the stratas and you do a simple random sampling, or you do a systematic sampling. Then what happens is you have not grouped the stratas properly, and the samples are not properly representing the population. So wrong sampling technique can affect your method of investigation. The second would be the investigator substitutes a convenient sample if the original sample is not available while investigation. This could be, like a person doing a questionnaire with people, and he's not able to see this person. Maybe the person is sick, or the person is on holidays, or whatever, So then he decides to substitute the sample that we have already chosen with another alternative person. So we do not know how perfectly that sample is going to substitute this sample, because this sample is supposed to represent our population. So this is a second mistake or the error that can take place. In area surveys, while dealing with border lines, it depends upon the investigator whether to include them in the sample or not. This is known as faulty demarcation of sampling units. To explain this, if you're doing a survey on an area, which is a town or a territory or a zone, now the samples which lie on the borderline between two zones sometimes are ignored because you feel that it's at the very extreme end of that territory. It's almost close to the next territory. So you try to ignore those samples which are lying in the borderline. Like you have zone 1 and zone 2. Let's say this is, let me just divide the screen and call this zone 1 and zone 2. So you feel that, samples which are lying here would probably not be a proper representation of either of this zone. So you ignore these samples and you go to zone, samples which are inside. So this is called faulty demarcation of sampling units. Next, non-sampling errors. So errors can take place at any point of time, not only during the sampling procedure. It can be also after the sampling. So when can that happen? Let's see. The first is due to negligence and carelessness of the part of either investigator or respondent. So here we are seeing that there is a carelessness or negligence that can take place in either from the one who's investigating or collecting the information from the sample, or from the one who is responding to the sample. So to make it very simple for you, a person is, say, interviewing someone, and he doesn't feel good that day, so he doesn't properly ask the questions in the questionnaire. but he just fills it up just for the namesake of filling it up. Or the one who's responding doesn't give the required answers, but just gives a very careless reply. So then your information that you have on your questionnaire is not correct. So that could be an error. So when you're doing the sampling techniques, or when you're doing the investigation, you need to look into how these errors can be fixed. The next can be due to lack of trained or qualified investigators. So as it suggests that if the investigators are not properly qualified or trained, then you might not get the right output out of them. Or due to framing of a wrong questionnaire. Questionnaire is very important in statistics. Every statistics has a questionnaire, when you do the sampling. And this questionnaire has to be properly designed, so it gets you the correct information. So a wrong questionnaire would give you the wrong analysis of the statistics. Due to application of wrong statistical measure. There are many statistical measures. Now I can illustrate you through the central tendency. You all know about, probably now familiar with mean, median, and mode. And we know that mean is different central tendency from mode, and it's different central tendency from median. If you're using the wrong central tendency as a measure for your statistical analysis, then your entire analysis might be wrong, and that might become an error in your statistical analytical procedure. So you need to apply the right statistical measure. So caution has to be taken to ensure that the measure that you're using is right. The last would be due to incomplete investigation and sample survey. So if the investigation was not completely done, it was like 99% done or 95% done, and so if it was not completely covered, all the samples were covered, then your information that you have collected is probably wrong. So these are the errors in sampling and non-sampling procedures. Thank you for watching Maths Tutorial Anand. Please like, and you can comment if you have any questions, and do not forget to subscribe to get more videos like this.